Shalom, shalom, Shabbat Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. The name of this segment is Depending on My Sisters, Black Sisters, Depending on My Black Sisters for help. Um, of course, you may know by now, my Hebrew name is Yeshurun. My surname is Uriel. And I want to have a talk with my sisters, my black sisters, Hebrew, my black Hebrew sisters. I'm, I'm going to be dependent on you, my sisters, for many things. I'm going to need your help tremendously. But before I say to you what help I need from you, I want to acknowledge you, and I want to acknowledge your suffering. I know it's been very difficult for many of you. My sisters have experienced many difficulties in this life, and some of you have difficulties in your homes. Many of you have difficulties with your families, with your husbands, difficulties with jobs, job security, uh, difficulties with one another, uh, difficulties among races, and hostilities at your jobs, your promotions in your jobs, higher education. Many of my sisters have been on welfare. The families have been on welfare. A lot of my sisters has been used and abused physically, mentally, and sexually. A lot of your sisters have been hurt um, by your own race, by your own men, and have used you, abused you physically, verbally, and sexually. I know a lot of you women have been sexually abused because of your drugs habits and had you to do many things, many tricks, as they call them. And I know life has been very difficult for you in this life. And I know that a lot of your husbands have not been faithful and you have suffered tremendously. I know it's been very difficult for my sisters. I know you have tried to work in society and do things, and a lot of you have been left alone to do things on your own with you and your children, and where your husbands or your spouse or lovers, whoever, how they say, sugar daddy, have played roles in your life to help you to meet your needs, and how you have to succumb to certain things in this life. But in the next life, and I'm not talking about you dying and go to heaven, that your life is going to be better. I'm not talking about that. You don't have to die to be able to, for your life to change and your geographics to change and your demographics to change. You will not have to die to have a better life. Very soon, the Lord will come back with a vengeance on the enemies that has plundered you, that has ridiculed you, and the Most High will set the hearts and the mind straight of your husbands, your boyfriend, your lovers, and your sugar daddies, and they will treat you right, and they will do you good. And I, the Lord's servant Yeshurun, will do you good. As the Lord the God liveth, when we get to Israel, you will be a woman that is respected, highly respected, because you are the woman of all creation. And Adam and Eve, Eve was a black woman. She was a Hebrew. Jacob and Rachel, Rachel was a Hebrew. All the women in the Bible that you read about, most of all of them were Hebrew. They were Hebrew women, black women just like you are today. They are Hebrew. Now, now that I've acknowledged the hardships and the difficulties that you have experienced in this life and things I know, I'm going to ask you for help now because I want you to change your attire. Yes, I want you to change your attire. When we return to Israel from exile, because that's what we are right now, we are still in exile. This is exile for us in America, and where God has scattered us is exile. We are in exile. This is slavery for us. We are not in our own country. But when the Lord deliver us from exile and take us back to Israel, I would like for you women to dress in the traditional wear in our country, in Israel. I like for you to have your head covered, and I like for you to wear Hebrew Arab dress wear, not Western wear, not exposing your body or your skin. I live in America, and I live amongst you, and I definitely know what kind of bodies you have. I've seen it. I've seen a lot. I've seen plenty. And I know you are proud of your body and very beautiful. Thank God for you. However, I would like for you to think about something. Do you think about being mothers and not prostituting your daughters? That means I don't want you to dress your daughters up that men would want them sexually. I don't want men to look at you anymore sexually as an object, as something that pleases him, and then discard you as if you're nothing. But I tell you, I want to tell you a story, and it's a little bit embarrassing, but I'm going to tell you, and you will get a different understanding about what I'm saying. Is how I'm asking for your help. I'm a man, I'm not a boy, and women are women, and not a girl. Now, I want to tell you, a boy is a boy until he is married, until he has sex with a woman, and a woman is a woman until she has sex or until she comes on her monthly visitor. She will be a girl until now. The difference between a woman, now a woman when she comes on her monthly visitor, she is still a girl. Now when she becomes sexually active or married, she is a woman, but she is a girl. Even when she comes in her monthly period, she is a girl. She is in the process of becoming a woman. Although she's able to give birth to a child, she is not a woman until she is married or when she becomes sexually active with her husband. She is a girl. She should be always called a girl. And a man should treat her as a girl, not as a woman. Our men's eyesight has become very bad, where they have sex with anybody, in anything, and they have become very abusive sexually and have not respected our women. Now, I'm not saying that it's because of women's dress wear that these things are happening. I'm not blaming you, but I am asking for your help to change the way you dress, to dress not in Western wear. And when we get back to Israel, I want you to keep your body covered all the time, especially when you go out in public. But when you go to the beach, you can wear beach attire, but I I don't want men drooling and slaughtering all over you anymore. I don't want men to look at you as a sex object, and you should not want men to look at you as a sex object. You should want only your husband to see your body and to see you naked. Only your husband should get a chance to see that. I don't I don't believe that every man should see a woman's nakedness. I think it's disrespectful, and I think that it's not fair to your husband. And I don't think that a woman should want a man to look at their nakedness. I think this is very wrong. And if you want to go to the beach, you wear what's appropriate at the beach, wear your bathing suits. But I think there are other alternatives that you don't have to show your nakedness. There's a swimsuit that they have that they cover the body. They call them spandex. A spandex swimsuit, like a scuba swimsuit, can cover your entire body, and you can go to the swimming out there in the swimming in the beach, and you can cover your body, and you can enjoy being out in the water. You don't have to be naked to show your body. You buy a nice spandex uh, full body suit, and you can enjoy being out in the beach all you like, and then you can protect yourself and save yourself for your husband. I love modesty. I love modesty. I do not like openness. I do not like open communication. I do not like a woman being open. I do not like a man being open. I do not like aggressive men. I do not like aggressive women. I like everyone to walk in their perspective. And I think there's nothing wrong with communicating and talking to each other. I think that is very, very productive, getting to know each other. And there would be places for us in Israel to do that. However, I think that women, when they adorn themselves, should adorn themselves in modest apparel. Now, my black sisters, God has really blessed you with a lot of curves. As some of my older brothers say, you have more curves than a Coca-Cola bottle. And you're truly blessed. And God has blessed you amongst women. Many races love to have the bodies that you have. Now, there are different perspectives as far as men, what they like. I understand that. But I'm going to depend on you to keep your bodies covered. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to have morality polices out. In the morality police, if they see you outside naked or your cleavage showing, I'm going to have them to send you back home and put on the appropriate attire that you would not come back home, cause other young girls to dress like prostitutes. I'm not going to have a country of prostitutes. Now, you can go to the beach and wear the appropriate attire if you don't want men to see your body. And I don't like it, but if that's what you want to prostitute yourself, you want to prostitute your children. I want to say this to you, that you prostituting your children, you're creating your child to be disrespected by men. And as she get older, that man will leave her because a man's thinking is a man's thinking. And women thinking is a man thinking. We are not the same. God did not make us the same. Now, let me tell you my story. I used to be a nurse, and I was a good nurse, but I'm masculine built. I'm not a skinny small man, and but there was a lady at my job. She was bigger than me. She was fat, but she was bigger, and she was very strong. She can pick up residents. She did not need a gait belt to put around the residents' waist to pick them up. She can pick them up, and she can put anybody in a wheelchair. I mean, she can just grab them like they was nothing. Me, I would grab a gait belt and put it on them and do all the right procedures. But this lady was really strong. But she stood up in my face and told me she can whoop my ass. And now I'm a man, so you don't disrespect a man, and a woman do not challenge a man. Now let me tell you what I did. Now I love women and I respect them, and I have never hit a woman. Even my sisters, I have four sisters, and my mother, I have never hit them. Even though I never played with them, I never played with them. If you get a chance to meet my family, you say to them, "Do Yajiran play with you guys? Have he ever played with you any games?" They would say, "No, Yajiran never played with us." But I tell you this, I told this woman, I said, "Look," I said, "I do not fight women," but I said, "Don't you ever confront me in my face again about you gonna whoop my ass." Now I said, "I'm not gonna beat you or hit you, but I said I will embarrass you." I said I would take your clothes off, I would rip your clothes up, and I said I would stomp you in between your legs and drag you in the parking lot. You understand? I said, don't approach me as a. I said, you're a woman, and I respect you as a woman, and I love you as a woman. But don't come in my face approaching me like a man and challenging me to whoop my ass because I will turn into a man on you. And I said, now, after that, she changed her attitude toward me, and we became good friends. But I want you to know that, women, I want you to be mindful of how God has made a man. He's made a man just like he made you, women, like he made animals. Animals have characteristics, and he put these characteristics in these men for them to act a certain way. And God does not make mistakes when he made men or when he made women. Now for me, I love the way women walk. They struts, their hand movement, their feminines. It's one of the most beautiful things ever. I mean, when I was younger, I just like to watch a girl walk. Beautiful. I mean, just wonderful. Just beautiful to look at. Just watching girls walk is beautiful. Oh man, make your mouth water and everything. But I want to say this to you. Sisters, I want you to hold up a standard of holiness, not to prostitute yourselves, not to prostitute your daughters. I want you to dress modest, and I want you to wear the dresses that we have traditionally in our country that our forefathers have worn. Men go dressed the same way in our family's traditional dress wear. As the Lord teach me, I will teach you and tell you. But I don't want our women. Now I tell you this: those of you who have different talents, like dancers and ballet dancers and things like that, and you wear in track runners, you have your skippy uniforms and leotards to wear. I can understand that. I don't expect any of you to go out and run track with a dress on and with a headscarf on. I don't expect that. I don't expect you to be on a track team and you wearing a dress that you can't run. I respect that. But after you finish your racing, after you finish your runs, and after you finish your dancing and your performance, and then marching band, if you're wearing your marching clothes to march in, then I respect I respect what your captain, your marching director says so for your attire to be. But after you get through performing, cover your bodies back up, cause I don't want my brothers or anyone else to be drooling at you, and I don't want you to cause no one to sin, and I don't want you to think. I don't want anyone to look at you and disrespect you. And I want you to hold up a standard so that they will respect you. Because if you don't respect yourself, who will? But I'm depending on you and I'm asking for your help and I'm pleading for your help. Now I know God is going to wash us and He's going to change a lot of things in our minds and in our hearts so we won't do certain things. But I don't know our attitudes or our motives when we get to Israel. But I can promise you this. I will respect you and I will see to it that you are respected. And no one will prostitute your daughters. And no one will prostitute you. Regardless of what happened to you in this life, everything will be forgotten. If you were a prostitute and you did all types of things, even just to make money for your children, if you perform oral sex on someone, you did it every day for $5, for $2, or $1. I don't care. In this life, it will be forgotten when we go to the next. And do you will be respected. If you want to work, we will have jobs for you. No one will be without a job, I promise you. No one. And there's a field that you want to work in and that you was not able to work in. You will be trained in that job. Um, whatever job that you want to be in, we will try to get you into that job and help you with what you like to do. And that everything that has been done to you in this life, you will be blessed and all these things will be forgotten about what you've done. But the next life, when we return to Israel, your life will be sweeter. And God knows everything about your life. And I know everything that has been done in your life. All of you. I know from Aretha Franklin to Beyonce to Janet Jackson. I know all of you, all your lifestyles, everything that has happened to you in your life. I know about it. And I respect all of you. I respect all of you. And I want all my brothers, they will respect you. Because when I see them, I have left messages for them. And when I see them again, I will talk to them about this. And they will respect you. You will not be disrespected any longer. I promise you. And if you to get a chance, if you want to work, if you are married, then ask your husband, is it okay for you to work? And then we will have a school system set up for you to work. I prayed and asked the Lord to build dormitories at all of our schools for fourth graders all the way up. They will be able to stay in school and spend the night there. That you can be able to keep the Lord's Sabbath and all his feast holidays and for you to take care of your families. But if you want to work, then we should be able to work where you can be able to do your work and and then to respect all of God's holidays, because our government is going to be set up around the Most High and His holidays and keeping His laws. Because I'm responsible for making sure we do not go into captivity again. God has put this on me, so I have planned to build the whole city and the opportunities for God's people, and I've considered everything, all of you, all the athletes, women singers. Um, I consider all of it, Even if you're a woman bowler, I consider women bowling, women volleyball, women basketball. Women basketball, you will have your own arenas. I have a list of all the cities where women basketball stadiums will be. Women volleyball. Women volleyball will have, there are six. There are six arenas that are there now that women will have volleyball, and it will be televised. There will be a volleyball season for competition for volleyball and for professional play within our own country. And I've considered and prayed about everything to add to our city. Swimming and diving, even ice skating. We will have ice skating. There are three ice skating rinks in Israel, and I should consider ice skating for women. Uh, you will be able to pursue ice skating. There are two professional ice skating rinks and one public ice skating rinks, and I asked the Lord to put them there so that you can enjoy them. But I consider comfort and stability of all our women, and I know the hardship that you have had. A lot of you have children that have had husbands, but your husbands do not live with you. Yeah, they live with other women. I know. I understand. That's why I'm sending you this message because I know your difficulties. But when the Lord comes back, we will go into our own country. You will not die. You will not die to receive a heavenly promise. You will not die. Listen to me. I'm your brother, and I'm your servant, and I'm the Lord's servant, Yeshurun. You will not die. And I want you to be respected. I'm asking you when you go outside to have your head covered and to wear the gowns and the dress wears of our forefathers. That we will live according to the standards of our forefathers. And it's going to save your life also. Because if you wear Western attire, the Lord considered this an abomination. So especially for the feast holidays, you need to wear Hebrew attire. Because if you don't wear Hebrew attire, the Lord will punish you. Because he does not want you to disrespect your race. God has a real terrible attitude about disrespecting your race and your birth. So don't disrespect and don't hate your race or your birth or your heritage. Don't hate being black. Don't hate being a Hebrew. You remember when Esau sold his birthrights? Now Hebrew. Now some of the people who are called Jewish are Esau descendants. And the other ones are Cain descendants. And the other people who are pretending to be us, who call themselves Jewish, they are mixed families with the Palestinians, who call themselves Assyrians and Jordanians and Arabs. They are mingled people with um, the people who are called Esau descendants and Cain descendants. I want to tell you that when Cain went east of Eden, he went into Syria because Africa is not the birth of society. Israel, Jerusalem, Israel is the birth of society. Now, I will not lie to you or tell you anything because I fear the Lord God of Israel, and I know he is a terrible God. But my sisters, I want you to help me out with this. I'm asking you and I'm pleading for you. But I promise you, I will tell you these things again once we arrive in Israel. But I will have morality police. If you're outside in the public and you're shopping and you're not dressed covering your skin of your body, and your chest is showing, your cleavage is showing, and your buttocks is coming out, the morality police will send you back home. Okay, I'm not interested in having a jail system. I'm not, because our black people has been in jail enough, and won't embarrass you. But we will have morality police take you home. Okay, because we're not going to prostitute anyone's children. We're not going to have a country of whores and prostitutes. All those are going to get burnt up in this life. But in the next life, we're not going to create another environment. No, we're not. We will not go back into captivity again. I'm also going to have Sabbath police. Sabbath police are going to prevent anyone who works on the Sabbath, who have a job or try to do grocery. Now, in Israel, when you do grocery, you are grocery shopping on Thursday and Friday before sunset. Now, you will not be able to do any type of grocery purchasing or buying after sunset. Everything will be closed. Everything. There will be no motor vehicle transportation after the Sabbath. When the Sabbath began on Friday sunset, no cars will be on the road. Nothing will travel. That's why the Lord has called me from the dead and to wake me up and to put these laws in my heart. And I've written them out. And when we go to Israel, these things you will see. These things, just as sure as God is God and I am the Lord's servant, Yeshurun, you will see these things in our country. Now, this is going to be a beautiful country, inside and out. But I promise you this, we will keep God's laws, and no one is going to break them. No one, not one person. I don't care how many billions of people, there's going to be no one person will break God's laws. I'm going to see to that. As I said, we will have morality polices out, and we will have Sabbath day police out. I will have them out in the air, and I will have them on the ground. I will have them on the ground. They will be in the malls. They will be in all the cities. I know where all the hotels are. I know where all the malls are. I built the city, so I know where everything is. And I will have all the morality polices and everything. Now, they're not there to harass you, but we're not going to create an environment of Sodom and Gomorrah, of whores and prostitutes and immorality people, or people who practice sexual immorality. And I'm not going to lead God's people astray, because I know God is terrible. And I know what he has done to people before who was very wicked and did not do things right before the eyes of God. And I fear him tremendously. So I know to respect God's people and to love them. And I know to respect God and his laws. And I want to dwell in the temple of the Lord forever. And nothing's going to stop me from doing that. And so it's a process. I do not hate the process. Even waiting, I do not hate the process. And I don't want you to hate the process. Okay, listen to me, and I'm going to close this segment. Uh, my father, my earthly father, loved cake. He loved cake. And he told me this story. And he said that my mother baked him a cake. And he had some of his friends to come over to eat some because they loved it too. My mom was a great cooker, and she cooked cake very well. And then when they brought the cake in, she brought the cake and she sat it down. And the first cake she baked, She baked several cakes, and one of the brothers said, "This cake here needs more flavor. It doesn't have enough flavor in it." And then she brought out another cake and gave him a slice of that cake, and he said, "Oh, this cake right here, it needs more sugar. Needs more sugar in this cake." And she brought out another cake, and the man didn't say anything. And she said, "Well, why aren't you saying that?" Then my dad said, "Because he's too busy eating it. That's why." He said he don't have nothing to say. And after all of them had finished eating the cake, and you got different people like different things. They have different tastes. So you're not going to please everybody, but sometimes you can. It just depends on how you be able to. You can do all things with God, but with man it is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. So I don't try to please man. I obey God, and when I obey God, all men will be blessed. So after they was finishing and closing my story and closing this segment, um, my father had ate his cake up, and there was only crumbs left. And then one of the brothers said, "Brother, um, all your cake, you don't ate it already." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Nothing but crumbs there." He said, "Oh man, foot, there ain't no crumbs, man. That's cake." Then he said, "All you gotta do," he said, "turn your fork right side up, sir." That's what they called it back in those days. Right side up, sir. So that means flip the fork over. And he said, "Press it down." He said, "Press all the crumbs down on top of each other." And so my father did as he said, and he pressed the crumbs on top of each other, and all the crumbs became a solid piece. And so all the solid pieces became to be a piece of cake. And but the crumbs that was still there had all the ingredients that was in the cake. And so the crumbs was just as good as the cake. So my sisters, I want to tell you that I love you, and I'm going to depend on you, okay? I'm going to lean on you a little bit. And don't break on me, all right? I love you, and I care about you, and I know your hurts and your pains. But the Lord coming back with his reward in his hands. And what was paining you and ailing you before, you will say, "What was I in pain about?" You will say, "What was I hurting about?" And why you will forget everything that caused you pain in this life. You will not remember it anymore. Because God's going to wipe away all your tears, and I will be there to comfort you as you enter into the kingdom of the Lord our God that has been prepared for you from the foundations of the world. You will be able to enter and be glad. Thank you for listening.